Hello there and welcome. This is Mikhail or Michael speaking, and as always, before the video begins, I want to say thank you all who decided to support me financially, be it through Patreon, PayPal or Super Thanks. I really appreciate your help and generosity, so thank you friends and have a blessed day. Now today's video I will start with Kursk Oblast, where Russian counteroffensive continues. Here Russians are attacking in this direction, to the flank and rear of Ukrainian formations that established their positions deep inside Russian territory. Fighting in these areas are especially hard, but despite all adversities, this portion of the front line coming in under Russian control. With it, Russians successfully took control over Daryina and Nikolaeva Daryina villages. After that, almost immediately they went on the attack, expanding the buffer zone around those two said villages, attacking in the direction of Sverdlikova. As you can see here, Russians are advancing along the Russo-Ukrainian border in the obvious attempt to take as much control of it as possible. Here, Ukrainians are actively counterattacking in an attempt to stop Russian advance, and as of right now, heavy battles are ongoing in this area. As you can see, this village is directly connected to Rylsk-Karenovo-Sudzha road, and if Russians are to take this village, they will physically cut the road and stop any supplies coming in for the Ukrainian formations fighting in this general area. Situation here is already as bad as it gets for the Ukrainian formations, as for some time Ukrainian forces found themselves in a fire pocket and in operational encirclement defending the village of Olgovka. It seems that Russians are not interested in attacking this bridgehead directly, and instead are trying to cut off supplies and either encircle or force Ukrainians to retreat. And like I said previously, attacks towards Sverdlikova will only make this whole situation worse. Fighting in Lyubimovka and Tolsty Lug continues, and if they are to fall, next logical target for the Russians would be the village of Zelyony Shlях. So Russians would reach this road in this sector as well. And if situation will continue to develop in the manner that it is right now, Ukrainian front line might collapse within just few days. In support of these assaults, Russians are also attacking towards Sudzha itself. However, as of right now, attacks towards Mikhailovka and Martinovka were unsuccessful. However, when it comes to the village of Borki, it seems that Ukrainians completely give up on the idea of recapturing the village and had retreated towards the village of Plekhova. Here it seems Russians are attacking in the exact same manner as on the other flank, along the border line, in attempt to retake control over the border and seemingly take Ukrainian formations in the entire Kursk area in a massive encirclement by committing into a massive pincer maneuver, with this road and Sudzha itself playing a vital role in this plan. So in conclusion, here on this particular portion of the front, Russians retook initiative and are actively counterattacking Ukrainian formations, and doing so rather successfully. In an attempt to counter this Russian offensive, Ukrainians launched an offensive of their own. As you know here, for some time already they unsuccessfully attacked in the direction of Medvezhye, Obukhovka and Veselaya. The only village they were able to capture here in this area was a small village of Novy Put. They used it as a staging point to attack towards those two said villages. However, Russian defense of those two villages was proven too strong for the Ukrainian formations, and they decided to change plans. Instead of attacking them directly, they attempted to attack to encircle them. However, Russian counterattacks, aviation and artillery did not allow Ukrainians to advance much, with these territories coming in under Ukrainian control. By the way, we have footage of that specific attack. As you can see here, Ukrainians are attacking with the force of one, what would seem to be Swedish equivalent of Leopard, STRV tank, with a infantry fighting vehicle. Almost immediately they came under Russian artillery attack, in which it seems Ukrainian tank was hit and left behind, while the infantry fighting vehicle continued under the heavy fire, reached the forest line, landed troops, got hit, but nevertheless was able to escape. When generally speaking about Kursk Oblast, it seems that Ukrainians doubled down on their attempt to do anything here and threw one of their best brigades. But this video of burning Leopard tank is a great example how all of this ended. Unfortunately for Ukrainians, they spent too much valuable resources and personnel as their front line is collapsing in several places. Now at this point, if you liked this video so far, please consider supporting it by a like, comment, or if you haven't subscribed, a subscription. Words cannot describe how important those actions are for the YouTube algorithms. It is the only way it sees that you are interested in my videos, and it will promote this video to more people. Thank you in advance, and let's move on. From here, let's move to Liman direction and discuss Russians fighting within the village of Makiivka. For some time, Russians were storming this village and were capturing it piece by piece. The hardest part was crossing the Zherebets River, which you see here. It seems that Russians were successful in those endeavors, and as a result, they were able to cross the river successfully and establish a bridgehead on its western side. At this point, Russian control of this village is about 60%. And this fact alone diminished Ukrainian presence within the village itself. As you can see, Ukrainians are only in control of a small portion of the village in the northwest, and with Russians continuing fighting here in this area, it seems that the battle for this village will soon be over. From Makiivka, let's move to Toretsk and quickly discuss Russian advances within the center of the city. As you know, Russians had been storming the city for some time now. However, due to the nature of fighting, territorial changes here are minimal. Nevertheless, Russians took control over this portion of the city, slowly but surely getting closer to the center of Toretsk city. Then from Toretsk, let's move to Pokrovsk direction and discuss recent Russian capture of the village of Krutый Yar. Within the last 24 hours, they re-entered this village and almost immediately went on the attack towards the next village of Krasny Yar. As of right now, fighting for this village continues, with an unknown result. Not moving far away from this front line, let's move towards Solidovo city and discuss recent Russian advances here as well. In support of their brethren, who is already fighting within the city itself, Russians attack on the flank in attempt to outflank Ukrainian formations fighting within the city itself. As a result of successful actions here in this area, this portion of the front line came under Russian control, and with it, Russians gained ability to attack to the flank and rear of Ukrainian defenders fighting in the eastern outskirts of the city. As you can see, Russians are slowly re-entering the city of Solidovo, but now more carefully and well prepared. We are not leaving Pokrovsk frontline just yet, and while we're here, let's discuss situation around the city of Girnik. For some time, Russians were attempting to enter the city, and at first they were successful in those endeavors by capturing a small bridgehead in the northern outskirts of it. In support of those attacks, they attacked along this road in the direction of this school here. And within the last 24 hours, they were able to successfully capture the school building, thus establishing bridgehead in the northeastern outskirts of the city. This increases the chances that Russians will be able to hold on to the bridgehead and develop their success further. At this point, Ukrainian attempts at stopping Russians on this portion of the front are rather ineffective. From Pokrovsk, let's move slightly to the south, where Kurakhove frontline is located. As fighting continued in the village of Maximilianivka, Russian forces attacked in the direction of Gostre, bypassed it, advanced along this rail line and entered the territory of a prison, with this portion of the front line coming in under their control. As you can see with this territorial development, Ukrainian control of the village of Gostre is in great risk. With its fall, Russians will gain ability to attack to the flank and rear of Ukrainian formations fighting in Maximilianivka, thus quickly ending the battle for this village. If Russians continue to advance in the manner that they do on this portion of the front, they will be able to reach this road, adding insult to injury. If nothing is done, I can definitely see this scenario playing out within the next days or a week. Now, at the very last, let's move further to the south and southwest and discuss the situation to the Vuhledar frontline. As a result of highly successful armored assault, Russians penetrated Ukrainian defensive lines and captured this portion of the front line. In fact, on the video that you're about to see, this attack was caught in perfect angles. Now Russians became very active across this entire front. They are now advancing toward the town of Novoukrainka. Here they are obviously trying to encircle Vuhledar not only from the east, but from the west as well. After Novoukrainka, the next logical target for Russian attacks would be Bogoyavlenka, and with Russians already attacking from Vodyane, you can see what is happening right before our eyes. It seems that the battle for Vuhledar is entering its final stage. With this I end today's video. Hopefully it was to your liking and was informative enough. As always, humanity calls me to condemn all violence against human beings. Have a good day and always remember, Russia will be free and great.